Hey everyone, Mario Castillo here, Executive Director of Your Houston with a new podcast episode. Today, we're visiting with Joy Horak-Brown, the CEO and President of New Hope Housing, an organization that's dedicated to providing affordable housing throughout Houston. New Hope Housing does a lot throughout the city. We have a lot to cover and discuss, so we're going to dive right in.
I feel the liftoff. The clock has started. Roger.
Joy, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to learn more about New Hope Housing and the great work y'all do in the community and how folks can learn more and how folks can get involved. But before we do that, we'd like to learn a little bit more about you. And we ask these questions of all of our guests just so that we can get to know you personally a little more. And the first one that we ask is, what is your favorite restaurant in Houston?
Oh, that is a tough question because we have so many wonderful restaurants in Houston, don't we? I'm very fond of June, right here in this neighborhood, and it's spelled J-U-N, and there's a flat line over the U. They have the most wonderful whole fish, branzino, and the most marvelous little gem salad. And I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but trust me here, it is a destination, and their tapioca pudding is really good.
Now, that's the restaurant that the Top Chef contestant
That is
created,
true.
right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, it's good to know that she's winning people over. And I remember she went really far in that competition. So we all saw how talented she was.
Well, she's a winner in my book.
There you go. Okay. Speaking of books, are you a reader?
You know, I read mostly for business.
Okay.
I love reading, but by the time I am finished doing all of my reading all day and all evening, the Chronicle and the Washington Post and the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and the Houston Business Journal, I must say that I've fallen off the edge of doing personal reading.
Gotcha. Well, there's a lot of other things you read there.
I do. I sure do.
You are very informed with all of those newspapers, and that's great. If you were to pick your ideal vacation, what would your ideal vacation be?
Well, you know, I can remember years ago I would hear people talk about how they were taking a vacation and they were just going somewhere to rest and relax. And I thought, what in the world is going on with that person? I want to go places and see new things and experience new things, and I want to rush really fast. And I must say that now I'm kind of right down the middle. I want to do some of each. And this coming year, I'm planning to spend some time in Italy. Doing
nice.
Some of each.
Okay. So do you have places picked out that you're going to visit in Italy?
Probably northern and central Italy.
Wonderful. Well, I hear that the gelato is fantastic all over Italy, so you can have some desserts wherever you go there.
I plan to.
That's great. And I will say you and I probably have very similar vacation styles then, because that's what I like to do. Go do an excursion, go visit, go hike, just see wherever it is I am, experience it.
And just be there.
Yeah. So wonderful. Well, we really appreciate you taking time to be here with us, and we're excited to learn more about New Hope Housing. Can you start by just telling us what it is New Hope Housing does and how y'all came to be?
Well, we came to be 30 years ago. This is our 30th anniversary, which makes it really special for me to be here today and to give you, for you to view later, our 30th anniversary book.
Wonderful.
That talks all about our history and our present and our future. So we were incorporated in 1993 by the people of Christ Church Cathedral, the Episcopal Cathedral of the Diocese of Texas, and we were never formally aligned with the church. They raised seed money and sent us on our way, but we're very proud of our roots in the Episcopal Church and very grateful for that founding. So what they were doing is they were raising funds to restore the historic cathedral structure. And for every dollar they raised for their own home, they raised $1 for the community. And $1.25 million of those dollars went to found New Hope Housing to buy some land in what was then a derelict warehouse area. It's now 100 feet from Minute Maid Park, the land they bought. We were there first. And to build 40 units of studio efficiency apartments that were designed to assist the homeless and those at serious risk of homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since that time, and I joined, by the way, in 1996, you're talking to New Hope Housing's first employee. And when I began, I was part-time. And I don't really know what I was thinking. I mean, I was looking for a real job when I found this job, and somehow it just grabbed me. I thought, what a vision. And at that time, and you read lots now in the paper about housing that is successfully assisting the unhoused,
right,
or those at severe risk. But back then, 1993, 1996, New Hope Housing had the only housing of this type in the state of Texas.
In the whole state of Texas.
Isn't that just amazing?
Wow.
So it was a pioneering effort. So here I came, and here were these 40 units of housing, and we got started. We've always been very blessed to have a wonderful board of directors and tremendous philanthropic support. This has been marvelous from day one. We couldn't have made it without that, and without the city of Houston, without the council members, without the mayor, without an infusion of capital to our mission. So beginning with those 40 units of housing, we now have almost 1,600 apartment homes.
And that's all in Houston?
All in Houston. 1,200 of those are either dedicated to the formerly unhoused, because people are not unhoused, they are not homeless when they're living in one of our properties. They are residents and they have a year's lease, and they can renew that lease. It's permanent housing. And we're also developing now housing that targets seniors.
Okay.
As the group to whom that housing is being offered. And seniors is defined as 55 years of age and above. So it's a really pretty low bar there to be a senior. And I hope there's some seniors who'll be listening to this podcast, and we can talk later to them. And we're also doing housing for families who have modest incomes. So let's think of a family of 4 with an income of around $50,000. So this is people who are starting their careers, young families. And the thing that's so marvelous about affordable housing is it allows you then to save money for your future.
Right.
To further your education, to further your children's education, and in fact, if you want a single-family home, to save money for a single-family home. If you're paying more than 30% of your income in rent, you are rent burdened, and you just can't accumulate those savings that we all need.
That's right. So would you say, because when you talked about the original 40 units for folks that were unhoused, and then you mentioned branching out to seniors, branching out to families, would you say that y'all are primarily an organization that exists for unhoused individuals or for affordable housing in general?
We exist for affordable housing in general. And our long-term goal is to have a full range of housing options. No one should reach the point that they become unhoused.
Right.
In the wealthiest country in human history, this simply should not be happening. It's wrong. But in order to prevent homelessness, to prevent people from becoming unhoused, you have to have an affordable housing option. Homelessness is a housing problem. And those cities that have the least affordable housing have the highest rate of homelessness. You can adjust for any other factor you wish, but at the end of the day, if you don't have affordable housing, your unhoused population will grow.
It's true. Now, when we talk about the housing options that y'all offer, how do people access them? Are there specific programs with criteria? Is there a list you must get on, or what does that look like?
Absolutely. So first of all, there's an income test,
Okay.
depending on whether you're 1, 2, 3, or 4 people seeking the housing. And then, of course, there's a criminal background check. And there is, because we have federal and state funding and city funding, there's documentation.
Mm-hmm.
But that shouldn't be daunting to anyone because we know how to help people with that documentation. We're here to help. So we know how to resource that. And yes, in fact, we're about to have a grand opening of a new building, and it will already have happened when this podcast airs, and it's in Southwest Houston on Savoy. And it's 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments for individuals and families. And a wonderful way to know more about us is to look at our website, newhopehousing.com,
Okay.
or to call the corporate office, 713-222-0290, and ask for information, or to email us, info@newhopehousing.com. And we can help people know which property might be best for them and how long the waiting list is. And one of the things we don't do is we don't try to wow you here today by telling you there are 1,000 people on the waiting list. That isn't functional. When we open a waiting list, when there are apartments available, apartment homes available, there's about a 3-month window. We want you to understand, if you were to come seeking an apartment home with us, that there is a possibility that you can have a lovely place to live in a short period of time. So we manage those lists. There usually is a wait list, but it shouldn't be daunting.
You're there to help along the way,
Absolutely.
and that's important.
Absolutely. We are housing plus services. And the services are their most intense at our properties where we're serving the formerly unhoused. There are services at all of our properties. We have 43 area services partners who bring about $12 million in funding with them. They are funded. They bring the services into our properties so that residents have what they need to be successful.
That's a wonderful model, bringing those services directly to the properties. What are some of those examples of some of those services?
Well, we work with the YMCA. We work with Theater Under the Stars. We work with Buckner International out of Dallas on after-school and summer programs. Second Servings and the Houston Food Bank, we work with them so that housing insecurities do not occur that are coupled with food insecurities. That is not a good thing. We also work with Search in our properties for the formerly unhoused and with Star of Hope Mission so that there is case management, so that there are community support specialists. And by the way, we also have fun. So there are lunches and dinners and activities that are designed to help people get to know their neighborhood, to socialize with their neighborhoods. There are programs especially for kiddos, and I must tell you, I'm so excited. Just recently, we cut the ribbon for our first Bezos Academy. It's our first of 3, and it's on a property where we're co-located on a 47-acre campus with Star of Hope. And that campus has everything from emergency services for women and families to transitional housing, every service you can possibly imagine, 2 health clinics, one of them on our side of the campus in our building. And our building is, by the way, 187 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments for struggling families. So here we are, not only with beautiful apartment homes, wonderful services, but a health clinic, small health clinic for the residents, and also a Bezos Academy. And I must tell you more about it. It's an academy, tuition-free, preschool, Montessori-inspired, funded by Jeff Bezos. And this academy operates off of a lottery system, so it's fair to the neighborhood, not only for the residents in our building, but for the neighborhood. And it operates year-round. And it is, let me say once again, tuition-free. And it just began operating, and we are thrilled. And I would love you to come and see it. It's absolutely adorable. If you've never been in a Montessori-inspired preschool, all the little tables and chairs and desks and activities, it's inspiring to an adult, much less to a child.
I've never visited one.
Well, we would love you to visit, and we have 2 more coming in 2 buildings that are under development right now.
That's very exciting. I mean, y'all have really come a long way from the very beginning.
We've had a lot of help. We've had a lot of help. And very soon we'll have, by the end of this year, almost 400 apartment homes under development. So this will be increasing what we offer to the community by 36%. And we have our eye on a couple of other developments for next year. So we're very proud to be, I know you are very involved in the East End, and we're very active there, which thrills us because, as you well know, your neighborhood, to say that it's rapidly gentrifying may not be the way to say it. It may be best to say it has gentrified. And there are other neighborhoods with similar problems for the historic people who have lived historically in the neighborhood, and for young people just starting out who want to live there who just don't have $1,700 for a 1-bedroom apartment.
It's very expensive.
Yes.
It's very expensive.
It really is. And, it's interesting to know that 50% of Houstonians rent the place where they live.
That's correct.
50%.
Yep.
And of that 50%, half of them are rent burdened. That means more than 30% of your income in rent, and a quarter of them are severely rent burdened. That means more than 50%.
You're absolutely right. And we've encountered people that have reached out to us for help and assistance because of the cost of rent, cost of everything else that has gone up as well. And we've seen the increases locally here in Houston and how much they've gone up. And people are looking for some type of remedy and relief. Property taxes, same thing. And there's something on the ballot this November that can address that temporarily. But what's addressing the rent side of it?
That's right. Well, we are. And we're moving as fast as we can to do as much as we can to be helpful to Houstonians. That's our job. We're a nonprofit, so when we do a development, the 3 I talked about this year and the 2 we're eyeing for next year, I don't get a BMW-sized bonus when we close one of those. So sorry, I don't. Certainly I'm fairly compensated, as is New Hope staff. And by the way, from one part-time person, we now have about 135 on staff.
Wow.
Sometimes I look in the mirror and I think, I go to an event, I see the staff, and I think, where did you people come from? How in the world did this happen? And it happened one foot in front of the other with a lot of people holding our hand and being at our side to make this happen. So we're on the move in our 30th anniversary year, faster than ever before, and we can't let up.
Well,
prices keep escalating. We have to keep going.
As you keep escalating and growing, do y'all utilize volunteer work? And is that something, if people are listening, they're really inspired by all the great things you're doing, can someone say, hey, I want to volunteer?
Absolutely. And they can call again, 713-222-0290, and ask to speak to the staff member who can help them. And her name is Kayla Simeon. and she would be delighted to be helpful. And we do have a volunteer opportunity upcoming that has to do with our prairie. We've seeded an urban prairie, and there will be other volunteer opportunities having to do with the prairie. I'm particularly focused on it right now because I'm so proud that we're doing something about resiliency for Houston, about managing water. Because you and I both know that we've had a number of water disasters in the city, and we haven't had our last one.
Nope.
We don't like to think about it, but we know it's true. And so we're helping with that ecosystem that manages water. And if you've caught the trend here in what I'm talking about, when we began, we were so small and had so much work to do to learn our business and learn it well, that our concentration was 100% internal for the residents living in our building to be sure they had stable, affordable, very high-quality housing, plus the services they needed to help them on their way to either stability or a better income or whatever the particular individual or family needed. And then we thought, well, we need to be a good neighbor in the neighborhoods where we're located because we're throughout the city. So we need to go to neighborhood meetings. When the police department and the fire department have special meetings, we need to be represented there. We need to be a good neighbor. And now we're thinking, wait a second, we need to do more than that even. We need to offer something to the neighborhood. Witness the 3 Bezos Academies. That's our first foray into offering for the community. And the Prairie is our second one, offering something to Houston to help with water management and with the ecosystem.
That's so important, and it's really key that y'all are being proactive about being involved in the community and also offering some sort of community benefit to the neighborhoods that you're in, because it's going to benefit the folks at your facilities and the people that live next door or in the neighborhoods adjacent. And that just helps, everyone should have that mentality when they're coming in.
And the small health clinic I mentioned and the Bezos Academy and the Prairie are all located on the large campus where we are co-located with Star of Hope Mission, and that's in Sunnyside.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm glad that, people who may be inspired by this can call and get signed up and set up to help volunteer with your efforts. Do you have any events coming up that people who may be interested could attend?
We are so event-rich this year. It is absolutely a blessing. So by the time this airs, we will have had a grand opening and 2 groundbreakings and the ribbon cutting of the Bezos Academy that I mentioned to you, but there will be 2 other events upcoming, and one of them is on November the 11th, and it's our annual gala, and we are so fortunate that it is produced by the Houston Astros for us.
Wow.
And so the gala benefits the Astros Foundation and New Hope Housing, benefits us equally, and it takes place at Minute Maid Park. So anyone who is interested in knowing about attending that gala, certainly you can hop on the Astros website and look at the Astros Foundation, or you can call that phone number that I keep repeating, 713-222-0290, and we can help you find out how to attend.
So your gala on the 11th of November sounds like a really fun night. You have Seal performing. That's going to be really exciting. And that's right around the time when folks participating Giving Tuesday, which is on the 28th of November. Is New Hope Housing participating in Giving Tuesday?
Absolutely we are, and it's on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving this year, so it's on November 28th, and we would love it if those who are listening and watching would hop on our website, newhopehousing.com, and help us do the important work that we are doing to benefit all of the citizens of Houston.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all the information you shared and your time here with us today. We really appreciate that. And y'all are doing some fantastic work. It's really inspirational to learn about the impact you're having, how far y'all have grown and come since your beginnings. And you've been there for most of that. And congratulations on
Yeah.
30 years.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to Joy for visiting with us today, the president and CEO of New Hope Housing. We learned so much about all of the work that you're doing across the city and what's to come with new developments on the way. We really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all of our content with all of our guests as soon as it drops.